Sir, is this supposed to be in Africa? A representation of?
Where you been, bro? Where you been, sir? What
I've just been listening all along, but this is supposed to be a representation of Africa?
That's
Of
their.
what
I
this
think it's their
one
observation.
explorer is seeing
Yeah,
from this one particular tribe, and the book contains multiple explorers and their accounts from different tribes and what they saw.
yeah.
In snippets from books from travelers and explorers through the regions of Africa in the pre-colonial period.
Over in America, finally, a glimmer of hope.
Every death which occurs in the community is ascribed to witchcraft, and someone, consequently, is guilty of the wicked deed.
Now, even though he lost fair and square, or wouldn't accept the outcome.
Defeat is not something Republican candidates are used to.
And we're looking at that.
What a surprise! A man accused of a sex crime wouldn't take no for an answer.
That's more Nordic pagan stuff.
It is thought to be calling death to visit the tribe. If one crowed before midnight, it had been guilty of Tilolo and was killed.
So you see, it even happens with animals. So if one of the fowls crowed before midnight, they killed it.
Like shit.
They need to sleep, Ak.
Anyway, that reminds me. That reminds me. My grandfather, he didn't like me to whistle at night. I don't know why. He just
My plowing grandmother was the same way. She said it brought demons.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like these people were very superstitious, at the least, extremely superstitious, and extremely secluded. So they didn't have other. See, they didn't have other groups of people. That's why one thing about a lot of people say slavery, the slave trade was a good thing for Africa because it opened them up to the rest of the world, and they got to see other things other than what they would just think about. This tribe who kills these babies when their teeth cut, there's a mother who's nursed that baby and has, fed that baby every day, and then she's thinking like, shit, I hope his bottom teeth come in first. And then if the fucking top teeth come in first, she knows that
you gotta go.
She got to give her baby up to be killed. I mean, there's a lot of pain. That's the story that doesn't get told and all that. There's a father who has a kid, and it's like
he was probably a deadbeat though.
I think black people were doing pretty good in America before they ended segregation, as crazy as that sounds. Like they had their own businesses and everything else, and then one day they're like, "No, you need to work for us."
But a lot of that is overrated. Those shits was janky as shit. But here you go.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I mean, you listening to like the pro-black fairy tales.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is the duty of anyone who works at Trump's golf course to take a shit in every hole.
And if one began to crow in a forest, the owner would give it a beating by way of teaching it not to be guilty of crowing at unseasonable hours.
Now, a lot of people were saying it was Trump's craziest ever speech. Guess again. He did a rally in Texas, and either he was on powerful drugs or the cat is dangerously ill. I mean, what does this mean?
When a person of influence is taken ill or dies, the cause is eagerly sought after, not in the nature of the disease, but in some person who was at enmity with the deceased, or who had acted in some way to excite suspicion.
We. I'm one and one. I'm one for one. Think of it.
There's always, whenever a celebrity dies in America, we believe that celebrities aren't supposed to die. We believe that if celebrities die, something nefarious happened, right? In general, especially black people.
Yeah, it's always a conspiracy.
There's always a conspiracy. So, even with Nipsey Hussle, like he told the guy, "You gotta leave here, you're a snitch." The guy came back and shot him.
We are me and I are you. S-U-A, S-U-A. Even Yoda would be confused by that. Happening this prick is.
Dr. Sebi was a con man. His name, what was his name? Al
Alfredo Bowman.
Yeah, Alfredo Bowman. Dr. Sebi is a man named Alfredo Bowman, he stole his stuff from a woman named Hulda Clark. There's a woman named Hulda Hulda Clark. She made books, The Cure for Cancer, The Cure for AIDS, The Cure
This
for
is new.
She was arrested and she was jailed because she was giving people false hope and giving people cures that.
Lunatic. I mean, Trump said the border wall will be tougher to climb than Mount Everest. Everest is 8 kilometres high, you lobotomized moron. You could get over his wall with Peter Crouch and a trampoline.
No, but that's what they said. But then I thought he brought a bunch of people into court, 11 people saying they did have it and they didn't.
Hold on, man. You telling me what you thought you knew? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So, Dr. Hulda Clark, she went through everything that Dr. Sebi went through first. She's a white woman, and she in the fact that none of Dr. Sebi people even heard of Hulda Clark is the craziest thing. It's kind of like if you were a fucking Kobe fan and you never heard of Michael Jordan. This Hulda Clark lady, she went through all that stuff. She did everything Dr. Sebi did. She just did it in the white community. About maybe 20 years earlier.
German Shepherds.
And she wrote all these books. And she has some good knowledge. The thing about it is, some of that stuff is actually true.
German Shepherds.
About how frequencies and stuff like that.
Good old-fashioned German Shepherd. It's hard to believe.
Killing, getting rid of benzopyrenes in your blood will cure everything, and killing worms. A lot of that stuff is about killing parasites. If you get rid of the parasite, you get rid of the disease and stuff like that.
Do you know who else like German Shepherds? This guy. I'm just saying, Hitler and Trump both like German Shepherds.
Mucus stuff.
Yeah, mucus
Yeah.
and different things like that. So these things are some of that stuff is true as treatments, but they're prescribing it as a cure. You understand what I'm saying? That's where the problem is.
We will have a national emergency, and we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there. And we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court, just like the band.
Dr. Sebi would have just said, look, if you have cancer and you do these things I tell you, you'll live a lot longer and your quality of life will be better. He sold it as a cure. Like you won't have, because what happens is some of these things make you test negative for certain diseases. But you still have the disease. You're only tested negative because you're on the regimen. The second, you can still give it to somebody else. You can still transmit it, but you won't test positive for it.
It's the same with like hepatitis C.
Yeah, he can make you pass a hepatitis B test or hepatitis C test. You can pass the test. Not that you don't have it no more, but the markers in your blood or the immune, whatever, because a lot of these tests, they just test your immune system. They're not really testing for a thing. They're testing for your T cell levels or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So he can make your T cell levels go up to a certain amount where to say, okay, you're cured. No, you're not cured. You just can pass the test. It's kind of like cramming for a test, and you don't really retain none of that shit, but you can go past the test. So Dr. Sebi, while he was dragged into court and while he was sued, and while he doesn't have any testimonials of anybody who's ever been cured, you can go on YouTube and you go on Facebook, you won't find anybody saying I was cured, because those were treatments. Very, 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 very interesting and very, very effective treatments that are not big pharma. They're not with the medical books. They're not none
cheap.
of that stuff. They're natural and they're holistic and they're effective treatments, but they're not cures. And that's where he got in trouble. They have to, if you tell somebody who has AIDS that you can cure them, or you tell somebody who has cancer you can cure them, and they don't get chemotherapy, but they take your fucking thing and they die, according to U.S. law, there's some culpability or liability on your part, especially if you're running around calling yourself a doctor without a medical degree.
They made Red Bull stop saying you can grow wings.
But yeah, it's like this, man. So Dr. Sebi was pawning off of treatment as a cure.
Now, back in Britain, the more I hear about this Hitler, I had him down as a pug guy. Just pugs like, what? It's just, no.
There's a voice keeps on calling.
Actually, feel a bit sorry for the German Shepherd there, because he's just, I didn't ask to be with him.
But he does give me treats.
German Shepherd. There is nothing better than a good old-fashioned German Shepherd. It's hard to believe.
Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll travel light, that's hobo style.